innocent Palestinians in Gaza, Obama did not say one word. I repeat, Obama did not say one word. Obama and his Zionists running his government could not care less about the Libyan people. And I think the Libyan people have to understand that whatever they decide to do from this point on time. All they want is your oil, and they're happy to put ex-Gaddafi people like Jalil and the Minister of Interior back in power, only this time, instead of redistributing that oil wealth to you, they will privatize all your oil fields and steal as much oil as that possible, and they will continue a dictatorship.
Okay, so there's varying opinion on what the motivations are for the international community to get involved. But if I could take it to Andrew McGregor, if there is some kind of no-fly zone, is this considered military intervention, and how far could it go? How much help could they give the National Council or the rebel fighters in this case, and how much will that escalate the fight against Gaddafi? Will this be full-out war?
Well, we've seen in the past quite often that no-fly zones tend to be the first stage in a larger intervention. And we would probably have a very good case for that here in Libya. A lot of people think that no-fly zones simply involve sending some planes up and deterring other planes from flying. But in almost every case, and we've seen this in Serbia and Iraq in the past, the first stage of setting up a no-fly zone is attacks on the air defense facilities of the country over which the zone is being established. So right away you're starting with a kind of military intervention. From there it's a bit of a slippery slope towards further intervention. Once you're involved with a no-fly zone, you're basically committing to one side of the conflict. At that point, other options become available to nations like the United States or Great Britain that are interested in having a hand in the final solution here within Libya, particularly in the way of covert activities, supplying arms to the rebel forces, supplying intelligence information, results of surveillance. And also there's a possibility for nations like the United States to use their ties within the regime. Musa Kusa, the foreign minister in particular, is the longtime head of intelligence within Libya and has very extensive ties with the CIA in the United States. And it was kind of interesting to see his name was actually left off the sanctions list of individuals that was released the other day. So there's a wide variety of military and quasi-military covert and non-covert actions available to the United States and some of the European countries. I'm not sure that Great Britain will be eager to have a repeat of their last engagement, which was rather embarrassing with the capture of an SAS MI6 team that had failed apparently to establish contacts within eastern Libya before they landed there. Other nations with extensive ties to Libya, such as Italy, will be doing their best, in fact, to stay out of the conflict in all ways, largely because of their colonial history with the country. They have no interest in further involvement in that sense.
Now, Jamal Gamati, as Andrew McGregor is saying, that what this could lead to, a no-fly zone and perhaps international intervention, could actually lead to international firepower, possibly international fighters on the ground. How open are Libyans to getting this kind of help and this kind of backing, to have perhaps the rest of the world step on their soil to fight?
Well, overwhelmingly, the Libyans have said, and there is a very, very strong consensus is this, that we will never accept or allow military intervention inside Libya. We will never accept foreign troops coming on Libyan soil. The Interim Council has said that. Libyans on the streets of Benghazi and other towns have said that. Libyans in the diaspora have said that. We are very clear about that. And, you know, I'm not a fan of conspiracy theory or living in the era of anti-imperialism and Cold War, but at the same time, I'm not a fan of American foreign policy as well. What we have here is we have a dynamics that's evolving in Libya, a revolution that followed the Tunisian revolution and the Egyptian revolution, which which is a symptomatic of a population that have been oppressed for over 4 decades, and they are very eager and aspiring to have freedom and democracy, and that's what's happening. So the local dynamics will determine and shape the future. Now, foreign countries, Libya doesn't live on a different planet. Libya lives in this planet, so it will have to have relations with the rest of the world, including European countries who are very close along the Mediterranean, including Britain and America, which have had a relationship with Libya in the past. But all this business about, you know, it's interesting that your guest from America never even alluded to the massacres and the killings of children and women, and the bombardment from the air of residential areas, what's happening and the massacres in Zawiya. You know, all they talk about is this imperialist plot to come and take Libyans' oil and reestablish, as if we are children. We don't know what's going on. We cannot take care of ourselves, as if Libya actually lacks the intellectual and the human resource that will determine to actually, as I said, craft a very different discourse and a better future for Libya, based on national sovereignty, national independence, and also based on good, mutual, respectful relationships with the rest of the world.
Okay, so then let me put it to Francis Boyle. So starting with a no-fly zone, how easy will it be for the international community to extricate itself from Libya once they've started any kind of intervention?
Well, with respect to our previous speaker, of course, he's the one asking for U.S. military intervention by means of a no-fly zone. And as Mr. McGregor pointed out, and as even Secretary of Defense Gates said, this will be, excuse me, sir, I haven't interrupted you, that as the Secretary of State Gates said, this will lead to a massive bombing campaign of Libya. So he and this council, this rebel council, they're the ones calling for the military intervention. Second, I believe, based on all the incidents back in the 1980s, when the Reagan administration criminally bombed Libya repeatedly, sent the Sixth Fleet over there to terrorize and intimidate, murdered 70 people in downtown Tripoli, wounded 240, and tried to murder the entire Gaddafi family, I believe the Colonel Gaddafi will fight back. And there will be a major battle going on here between the United States and the NATO states to control and dominate the Libyan oil fields. And again, that's what this is all about. That's what Iraq was all about. We've seen massacres in Yemen. Obama goes along with it. There were massacres in Bahrain. Obama went along with it. There were massacres in Egypt. Obama went along with it. He's gone along with the massacres in Ivory Coast. He didn't say one word about Israeli massacres of Palestinians. Why do you think all of a sudden he's worried about the fact that maybe 400 Libyans might have been killed by Gaddafi? It's because of all the oil. And that's what's at stake here. And then second, the Zionists, both in Israel and in the White House and in the United States, have never forgiven Gaddafi for all the